palpable conjunctiva right there. Okay. I'm just going to jump down and back up because I didn't really show you. Here is the lens, okay? The lens is right here on this one. Here's the lens on this one right here, okay? And then anterior to the lens is the diaphragm, and the hole in the diaphragm is your pupil, okay? So diaphragm, pupil, lens. On this model, the lens is kind of is here. This would be the diaphragm here, and here's your lens. This model here, cornea, and then there's your diaphragm, and there's your pupil right here. Okay, so it's a little bit different how each model does it. Cavities in chambers. The lens divides the inside of the eye into a posterior cavity and an anterior cavity. So posterior to it, where my Q-tip right now is in the, this is the posterior cavity. And this plastic ball represents the fluid that's in there, and it's a jelly material, and it's called the vitreous humor. You also see it called the vitreous body. That would be what this is right here, and that's what this is right here. So this all represents vitreous humor. So if we tag this and say, what is this? You know, you would tell us vitreous humor. If I have this Q-tip in there and say, that Q-tip is in what space, you would tell me posterior cavity, okay, and the fluid in there is a vitreous humor. Now, anterior to the lens, between the lens and the cornea, remember this is the cornea? This is the anterior cavity. In there, the fluid is more like water, and it's called the aqueous humor, okay? And so you can see it there. It would be in here, would be all the anterior cavity. In front of the lens here, okay? Now, the anterior cavity is further divided into chambers, an anterior posterior chamber, and the iris is what divides it. So between the iris and the cornea, right in here where my Q-tip is, would be the anterior chamber of the anterior cavity. We okay with that? Mm-hmm. Between the iris and the lens, where my Q-tip now is, would be the posterior chamber of the anterior cavity. So with that said, the tip of my Q-tip is in what specific space?
The anterior chamber of the anterior
cavity. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I ran out of space too.
This model here, it's a little bit different because of the way they got the iris. But so between here and here, between the iris and this cornea, would be the anterior chamber. Between the lens and the iris right here would be the posterior chamber of the anterior cavity.
It's easier to
It's very easy to mix up, as you can tell. You know. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you here on this one. See that little pink disc right there with the little dot in the middle? What would that be?
That's your
the macula lutea with the fovea centralis in it. Do you see that? That little pink disc there with the dot in it?
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're not going to use this model.
Well, I just want you to see on all the models. Okay, you guys see that? You know.
Small.
Note to myself, be sure to use that.
Just for the sun.
Just when Chris gets you, switch it out.
Chris. Where's your ball game?
Okay, so we're okay with that. We're okay with the lens, iris, and pupil. Optic nerve, again, that's what this is. That's what this is. That's what, you know, this is right here. Optic nerve coming out the back. Optic nerve right here. Okay. Accessory structures, upper and lower palpebra, the eyelids. The only place you really see that is on this here. This would be the upper, lower. And then the caruncle. The caruncle is that little thing that's in the corner of your eye, and here it is in pink right here. Okay, and you only see it on this model, the caruncle. Okay.